Welcome, welcome, welcome. Peace and blessings. Assalamu alaikum to everyone. Thank you for joining In the Spotlight Present. Well, this face looks familiar. You all should know this face. If you don't know our special guest today, please go check out the last episode of At My Sister's House talk show. This special guest, Sister Medina Mohammed, we listed her many skills, her many talents, the hats she wears. One was author. Sister Medina is author of What You See Going On in the Back, upcoming activities coming. And so what we're going to do is, one, I want to welcome you back. Thank you, Sister Medina.
Thank you for having me.
And this is not the part 2 that we spoke of at my sister's house. So I want to make that clear. We wanted to because we knew that interview would be so in-depth and there was so much information we wanted to share. We wanted to give each of the books their proper time as well. As we stressed before, these books are those books that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said every believer should have. And I'm going to have Sister Medina say it right because she knows the exact quote of it as far as saying, first, it was the sisters he started with.
Right.
And then he said...
the brothers, too.
Right.
Then he said, well, everybody.
Everybody. So we wanted to make sure, so when we say everybody should have it, you kind of like, what is it that you're talking about? They're small, convenient books, but the information is so packful, they're a must. If you're in the ministry class, she got something for you specifically. If you're a student and you want to labor and you want to know more of your foundation, your history of the Nation of Islam, she got something for you. Many of the MGT watching, one of these books in particular should look very familiar. We received as a gift from the Student National Captain, Sister Naima Muhammad, the warning and instructions to the MGT and GCC. So if you ever wondered where the book came from and how to get more, we present to you our special guest, Sister Medina Mohammed. So thank you again for joining me.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
We're going to jump right in. I think it's best we start with the one with the picture of your mother on it.
That was the first book.
See? Look at that.
That was the first. That was the very first one that that we had put together.
Okay.
It was an introduction to, I call it an introduction to her.
Yes.
You know, being the one and only secretary to Master Farad at the age of 17. And so the book entitles that, as well as some of her experiences. So in that book, it would entail a few of the experiences that she had while she was the one and only secretary to Master Farad. So
to give clarity, the title is I Am Bernstein Sharif Muhammad, Reformer and Secretary to Master W.D.F. Muhammad. And these are some of my experiences. Excellent, excellent read. Well, I'm going to say that for all of them. So excellent read for all of them. But that one begins the first set. Now, there were 2 at a time released, right?
Right.
So the one with Mother Bernstein was 1.
Right.
And the second was
the ministry books. I think the ministry books came secondly.
Okay.
The first one, and then later on the second volume came in. And in those 2 books are excerpts, minutes taken from actual minister's class taught by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad in the early 1930s.
Yes.
In the early 1930s. So that's what both of those books are.
And again, from being in the ministry class, the information in there on the outline of how the Honorable Elijah Muhammad wanted the classes to be held, how they were to be instructed, how we were to conduct ourselves as minister. Very clear cut in knowing the teachings and how the teachings were to come across. Yeah. So that's it. And there's 2 volumes, volume 1, volume 2, and many letters directly from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad to certain ministers and the ministry class.
Absolutely.
Both regards. Then we come right around to warning and instructions to the MGT and GCC from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad.
Right.
Wow.
Right. And that one too. And as you look in the books, you can see that all of this is original material.
Yes. Yes.
Because it's typed.
Yes.
And you'll be able to see that it's all, if there's any mistakes, that's original.
Right.
So we didn't change anything. Right. We just actually printed it just as it is. And
what you saying now, I'm gonna pick up one of the ministry class, and as Sister Medina was saying, actual. So these are actual letters. And you see, signed by Prophet Elijah Muhammad. Now, this one is dated April the 2nd, 1936. Mm-hmm. I mean, this is, I do want to mention this. Excuse me. These are the actual books from Sister Medina and the family. If your book cover do not look like this,
oh, thank you.
These are not authentic books.
Right.
And we don't want to support anyone or anything doing anything other than selling the actual books. So don't try to find many other sources. Sister Medina can let you know if it's somebody she's authorized to sell or not.
Well, there has not been anyone. So,
okay, with that said,
especially this book, because this one is the one that someone has tried to duplicate and put my mother's picture on the front of it.
Yeah.
And it's not legit, and it did not come from us.
Right.
And nor did we give anybody else permission to do that. Some of you have probably seen that book, and it's not even, it has her face on the cover, and when you open it, it's nothing like this that's even in it.
Right.
So they use her picture on the cover to support their own type of program.
Right. And as a Muslim, we're taught we do not steal. So those books are now authorized by, and I wanted to make that emphasis because I know the heartache and the headache is created. These are the authentic books. So any cover that looks different than this, you didn't get the right book. We want to get the ones from Sister Medina because those are the words and the writings we know came directly from her mother. And those were the ones Minister Louis Farrakhan went through with you and approved for these right here. So we just want to get that clarity.
Thank you for bringing that up.
We have, and I wanted to, if we could, back to this one of your mother. Mm-hmm. On the back is a beautiful picture of your mother. And it states, former reformer to Queen Mother. This I thought was such a beautiful picture. And she's holding a plaque.
To Queen.
From reformer to Queen.
Right, right. That was an award they had given to her. She's holding that plaque. And this was later years, of course, in her life. Yes, sitting in front of the fireplace at the house.
And the sacrifice again. If you missed us talking about her mother and the sacrifice, please check out our first episode. And also, as always, you'll find it more throughout the show, but we'll be giving you the website, www.the.NOIreformer.com, where you can see more of the books. She gives descriptions of each of the books and actual clips from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan speaking on Mother Bernstein Sharif Muhammad. The pathway of Islam in North America, that one you gave a lot of information in that.
Yes,
I read that one and was like, did she mean to tell us all of this?
I didn't, but it's okay.
There's a lot. When you as a student want to know more about Master Farad Muhammad, that's a must.
That book there, that's very, very informative.
Yes.
It definitely gives a description. It sent chills to me when I was putting that one together. I was like, wow, this one here.
And again, a lot of times we hear of Master Farad Muhammad and we hear stories, and you don't know sometimes if they're true or not. This give us an accurate account of his wife. And I don't want to give away too much. Now, I read them,
Right.
but I don't want to give away too much. I want you to get them. But that one right there, when you're talking about as a student, especially in this nation, you want to have that book, The Pathway of Islam here in North America. You want to have that in your library.
Absolutely.
Now, another one that touched my heart.
Oh,
Some of the first women who accepted Islam. Now, I have seen on Facebook those who make arguments about the bean pie.
Who came up with it? And,
There's so many
I've
who
seen it
argue
too.
about the bean pie,
They
and a
still
lot
argue.
of those exactly.
They still argue.
Because once we say contact Medina, and then there's also, it's like, no. But the information is in there
Right.
about the first bean pie, how that came about.
Right. The sister that Allah blessed with the idea of the bean pie, Sister Mary Amanzo Islam. I asked my mother, where did the bean pie come from?
Yes.
And that's what my mother said. She said, Sister Mary Amanzo Islam. And she said she married twice. And it's like, oh, so okay, because I thought it was my mother, because all the baking that she used to do, I thought it came from her. But she said that's who it was, Sister Mary Amanzo Islam.
And she baked the first bean pie, but it's other information in there too.
Absolutely.
So that's just one sister. And again, you'll get to hear how the bean pie came about and the way that what we make now. To this day, we're known for the bean pie.
Islam. Yes, absolutely.
And so that information is in there. Now, again, I'm a coffee drinker, so you all know this is a must-have for every coffee drinker. It is a coffee mug, and it has Mother Marie, the mother of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Mother Claire, the wife of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and Mother Bernstein, the secretary, the reformer, the one and only of Master W.D. Farad Muhammad. Now, let me also say this. When you go to the website and you see the website, and I can't say it in the spirit and with the words and the heart that the minister expressed on how important she is. The minister even went so far as to place her above.
Yes, he did.
He placed her above.
Yes, he did.
He said, Mother Marie. He said she's even more important than Mother Claire.
Mother Claire, that's what he said.
He went into the value of Mother Bernstein because she was the one sitting with and a witness to
Absolutely.
Master Farad Muhammad.
That's what he said.
Yo mama.
My mama. My mama. What you say about my mama?
Do you ever sit back and just think about it?
Before doing the exhibit was really the experience that really touched me and still touched me today, because so much came out of it.
Yes,
being in the exhibit, meeting people from around the world, and so much came out of that exhibit. When I would look at the responses of people, when I mentioned my mother, and when I mentioned this book and mentioned my mother, and the responses of people, I was floored.
Wow.
And many people asked me, well, how do you feel knowing that's your mother? I feel like you do.
Right.
I feel like you do. And a lot of it, I didn't know her value until she was gone.
Yeah.
Until she left. I didn't realize, because she didn't, if you met her, she was so humble.
Right. So it wasn't boastful.
So she was not, I used to be, she didn't do none of that. In the house, none of that. She was a mother like all other mothers, and just wanted the best for us, and bringing us with the right guidance and teachings and so forth. And she never did any of that.
Wow.
We knew that she was the secretary. Heck, I didn't even know she was the only one.
Right.
Because she didn't put emphasis on stuff like that.
Wow.
She was so, if she was living today, she would come in here and sit down and talk to you, and you wouldn't know who she was. Somebody would have to tell you.
Wow.
That's the way
humility.
Yes, that's the way she was. She didn't, and she was so loving and welcoming. Although she had 14 children, she adopted a whole lot of them.
Wow.
It was so many people that just loved her, and her smile and so forth, and people just loved her, and she claimed everybody. She claimed everybody.
I'm so forever grateful.
I am
that
too.
She held her notes, journals, her information for us today. I mean, a whole nation, a whole generation.
Right.
Who never met her. And sadly, many don't know her name.
Right.
But we stand on the shoulders of. And as MGT, as vanguards, this sister was the first
She was
captain.
the first. She was the first.
And the first trainer of women. And to this day, we got, captains all over the world.
Thousands, yes.
Master Farad said he had a message for the black man and woman in North America, and the message has spread around the world. And your mother was the first captain, the first trainer of all of us who are there today.
Absolutely.
So we are forever indebted. And not just to her, but to you and your family. Because you're spreading that. And we're getting the opportunity to learn it. And again, these aren't large volumes of books. They're booklets, but they're packed with so much information. You go back over and over again, and you get new data. You get new information
you learn
out of it.
something you didn't know.
Yeah.
That's for sure. You learned something you didn't know.
Yeah.
I've had people, the responses I have gotten from people once they've gotten the books has been so warming, heartfelt, brought tears to my eyes. One that really stands out, I think about it all the time. It was this one sister that bought the books. I don't know which book she's referring to, but she said the first paragraph, she learned so much in the first paragraph. That she have learned since being a Muslim. Now, I don't know how many years she's been a Muslim, and I don't know which book she's talking about, but for her to say that,
that's how impactful.
That's how I was like, wow.
One paragraph. We ain't even talking about the rest of the book.
Right. That's what she said. She said, I've learned so much just from one paragraph. And she thanked me. She says, thank you so much for printing this information, and I'm ready to get more.
Now, Sister Medina, this is what we have, and most have come as 2 at a time, and we've been receiving them almost like every Savior's Day, if you will.
Right.
Any upcoming ventures that you could speak on in regards to more books?
Well, we have another book coming out very soon, inshallah. And this one is on the 7 units.
Allahu Akbar.
That are revealed. This is the title. This is the picture. That's on the front, and this is the way it's going to look. Still have to make some minor adjustments to the inside of it. But this is the 7 training units revealed to me from W.D. Farad Muhammad.
Allahu Akbar. Allah. Now let me.
You'll get one of the first ones.
Thank you. And let me say this: Sister Medina and I were on the phone talking, and she shared that she was considering this book, and tears literally formed in my eyes. And I told her that. I said, "Sis, I'm over here in tears." As an MGT, and been trained in this, and standing on my training proudly. To know there's more to learn about it. Every Saturday with pride, I go to class and sit amongst my sisters, and we break the 7 training units down and work our classes. But to know there's more to learn. There's more to understand. And not just from a personal, but directly from the one who established the class for us.
Absolutely. So what this one, I'll tell you this much. What she explains in this book is how she takes each unit and she makes them comparable on a spiritual basis.
Wow. Wow.
On a spiritual.
Right.
You know, just like, for instance, with the sewing, the scissors and what the scissors mean, what the thread means, the types of material. She breaks it down on a spiritual note.
When you read it for the first time?
When I read it for the first time, and the sewing is the best one for me.
Right.
It was the best one for me, because when she broke down that, so I was like, wow. That woman was bad. That woman was bad.
And when somebody take you somewhere different with it, because we know we've been through sewing class. And we've made our garments or our headpieces and our tams.
Right.
So we've seen the physical aspect of it. And we ties in, the spiritual aspect, but to hear it direct.
She talks about the thread and the thread going to the needle and what the needle means. She talks about the material.
Hurry up and release this book. Hurry up and release this book.
When you read that, you're going to be like, oh my God.
Okay, so you heard it here first. We have a new book coming out. So you got to stay on top of the website, www.thenoireformer.com, so we can look out for that next book coming out. Again, the rest of the books are available on the website. You can also reach out directly to our sister. Now, again, I mentioned this before. Our sister has been in business, not just as an author, but our sister have ran restaurants. She is a successful chef and caterer. If you've been to Savior's Day and you come to eat with Sister Medina, you know it was worth it. Just that alone.
Praises due to Allah.
She's phenomenal in business. You've worked in the restaurant management. You've worked in retail management even, right?
Just food service.
Just food service, okay.
Right. Just food
and
food
for
service.
Years.
For years.
What's something you would say is a key element to doing proper business?
There's a few things I could say. It is knowing your customer.
Yes, ma'am.
Knowing your customer and always want to please the customer. That's always been my motto. It's not necessarily what I want.
Yes, ma'am.
It's whatever you want. How can I please you?
Yes, ma'am.
Because you got to keep coming.
Right. Exactly.
You got to keep coming. And so, but I've learned from the best. Allah has blessed me to learn from the best.
Yes, ma'am.
I managed Wendy's restaurants. And I worked directly with the company, not franchise restaurants. And so, I was able to, it was this one Caucasian lady that told me that the skills I had, she couldn't train people. She said, you have to be born with it. And at that time, I didn't know what she was talking about. I'm trying to figure out I just said, oh, thank you.
Right.
I didn't even know what she was talking about. But that's what she told me. She said, she said, I can't even train. She said, what you have, I can't train people.
And for those of us in Detroit specifically, and those in the surrounding areas like Ohio and Indianapolis that comes to Detroit for our festivals in the summer, Sister Medina's vending booth area is off the chain. I don't know another word. It's off the chain. It is in demand. That's seriously.
Lines.
It's the longest line, and people look for you.
Yes, they do.
Even if you're not there that event, they're looking for you. They don't want to get nothing else to eat until they first see if you're there.
Yeah. We've established a good reputation.
Yes, ma'am.
All praises due to Allah. That's for real. It didn't come easy. It was a lot of work, and I've seen a lot of payless paydays.
Yes, ma'am.
But the experience now in dealing with those events, those special events, Allah has blessed us we're known.
Yes, ma'am.
We're known now.
That's
And
an actual
we never
fact.
knew how long the lines were. People would come up to us and tell us,
Mm-hmm.
"Do you know how long your line?" All I know is we can't stop.
Keep dropping
We just
fish.
Keep dropping fish. Keep dropping fish. That's all
Let me
we
ask you,
know.
Sister Medina, because now I see a lot of believers on social media, and they're starting different restaurants or food trucks or trying to do the catering. As one who I know at Savior's Day, it could be an hour, hour and a half if you come to the restaurant. I'm not even talking about the deliveries you have to make to the hotels or when you are cooking at the arenas. The demand is there. People love it.
Absolutely.
What would you say to those who are trying to get their foot in the door of doing catering or restaurants? What are key principles or elements to that?
Well, when it comes to big events, the word KISS is an acronym. Keep it simple. You have to keep it simple so that you can keep doing it over and over.
Ma'am.
Over and over. So you have to keep it simple. You can't have a whole bunch of stuff you're trying to do.
Right. Okay.
You know, plus
and you see that. You'll sometimes see it's of this big array and it's too much.
It's too much, and just keep it simple.
Right.
That's what I'd say for those events like that.
I thank you once again.
Thank you.
And I want to, again, remind everyone, check out www.thenoireformer.com. It will be included with this video. Also, if you need to speak to our sister, again, for those of you who saw at my sister's house talk show, and if you haven't, I advise you, please go check it out. Our sister is phenomenal with the history of the beginning of the Nation of Islam. You want to get her in your cities. You want her to come on your show so we can get this information to the world. So if you need to contact our sister, please call her at
313-673-9840.
So again, I thank you for being my special guest tonight.
Thank you for having me.
And again, I thank you all for joining us. May Allah bless each and every one of you and have a wonderful, peaceful evening. Assalamu alaikum.